What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Midas here, and in today's video I'm going to be bringing you guys along on a tour of my game setup. So I went ahead and put my gaming setup inside of a closet to save space and just to build something really unique, and special that I can game in. So it's more than a gaming setup, it's a streaming setup, it's a productivity space. So it's basically an all-in-one setup, and you guys will see as we go through everything in this space. Before we jump right into this tour, I'd suggest checking out the first video I made on how I converted the space from a simple closet into a hideaway game room. The video link for that will be at the top of the screen right now. All right, let's get to the really juicy stuff. I'll go through everything in the space, starting from the bottom all the way to the top. Okay, let's start with the Casa in-wall smart outlet I've added to the right wall. This is the only power source in the closet, and I could have gone with, something that's more regular, but I opted for a smart outlet. I did this for the smart features like voice and app control, and even just to future-proof that space. It's split into 2 outlet plugs, which is more than enough for my needs in this space. I'll be using a few extension boxes to expand its capabilities. Anyway, it was easy to install and it's been working great ever since. Honestly, it's been amazing. Right next to the shelf on the floor, I've got a 3-in, 1-out HDMI 2.1 switcher. I have this one here so I can easily switch between using my PS5, my Xbox Series X, and my PC with my main display, just with the push of a button. The way it works is that I connect the HDMI 2.1 cable from my display to this switcher, and then connect 3 HDMI 2.1 cables to each of my consoles and my PC. In doing so, I've made cable management a lot easier since I now have only one cable going directly into the TV's input. I'm not particularly happy with this specific HDMI switcher, and the reason for that is because it's lacking greatly. I'm talking it's missing, some key features. First of all, there's no remote for switching between HDMI inputs, so you'll have to reach for the button each time. You also cannot skip HDMI inputs even if it's not connected to anything. You'll have to run through all 3 inputs every time to find the one that you want. There's also a delay of approximately 2 seconds switching between inputs. There aren't many 3-port HDMI 2.1 switchers out there yet, so I kind of settled for this one. Honestly, if I find something better, I'm probably going to end up switching to that. At the bottom, I've got a 72-inch IKEA lag sitting directly on the floor. The purpose of this shelf is to hold all of my consoles and the single PC. This allows me to keep them off the carpet, which can be bad for electronics. I chose to get a white shelf to fit the aesthetic I was going for. So I wanted an all-white setup. I'm talking with the furniture, not with every single thing, because I'm going to be using a bunch of electronics in the space that are either white or black, a shade of white or a shade of black, something around there. The white furnitures will help accentuate everything else, make everything else stand out better. Okay, so on the far right side of the lag shelf, I've got the Xbox Series X, the Halo Infinite limited edition console. So last year, Xbox released this console, to celebrate the 20-year anniversary of one of their famous franchises, the Halo series. I know some of you guys know what I'm talking about. There's no internal difference between this console and the launch edition, Xbox consoles. The only difference is external, and truthfully, I love the look of the limited edition console way more. It allows for all the 4K gaming that you can get, as well as 120 frames per second gameplay for fast-paced games like Forza. It's the first time I've ever owned an Xbox console, and I've been loving it for the 4 months I've had it. I recently signed up to try out the popular Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. This is a cloud-based game streaming service if you didn't already know. It offers access to so many game titles on both PC and Xbox for a monthly fee of $16.99 Canadian dollars. I'm still trying to figure out if it's really worth that value. I'll report back with my thoughts on that one in a whole different video, so go ahead and spam that subscribe button so you're notified whenever I drop that video. Next to the Xbox, I've got my $5,000 water-cooled gaming and productivity PC. I custom built this rig for gaming, streaming, video editing, and any other productivity related work. It's got a lot of new PC tech like Intel's latest Alder Lake CPU, so the i9 12900K, DDR5 RAM, and more. I've put the specs up on the screen for anyone who's interested, in finding out more about the PC. This PC is so beefy, it can handle any game you throw at it. I'm talking about gaming at the maximum resolutions and frame rates, even with ray tracing and more. Essentially, I can max out the settings on any game and it'll handle it with ease. The CPU and GPU in this PC are also powerful enough for creative work like 8K video editing, 3D rendering, and even high quality, high frame rate live stream encoding. The process of getting all the parts to build it was, a little hectic. Some parts like the 3080 Ti GPU and DDR5 RAM sticks were almost impossible to find. My initial goal was to build an all-white PC, but I had to settle for some of the parts being black instead. I'll probably end up switching out those parts during, a future upgrade. I also recently made a video on how I built it and all the troubles I faced, in the process of doing that. You can go ahead and check out that video by clicking the link at the top of the screen right now. Next to the PC is my all black PlayStation 5. It's pretty similar to the Xbox Series X in that both allow, gaming at up to 4K resolution and 120 frames per second. If you ask me what console I use the most, it's definitely this one. I've had it the longest and have a larger library of games on it than anywhere else. Truthfully, PlayStation exclusives like Horizon, Ratchet & Clank, and others are enough to warrant getting one of these consoles, since you can't find these masterpieces anywhere else, nowhere else. They're only on PlayStation. After the PS5 is my UniFi Switch Flex Mini, which I've tucked away in the corner to keep it out of sight. This is a fully managed switch with 5 gigabit Ethernet ports, including one PoE input. It doesn't take up any space and it's easy to hide away due to its low profile. It can be monitored or configured from anywhere with the UniFi network, desktop, or mobile application. I already have a lot of UniFi hardware for internet and home security, so this one was easy to add to the ecosystem. One cool thing I love about this switch is that, it's got 2 ways that it can be powered. The first one is through a regular USB-C power adapter, while the second one is through power of Ethernet, or PoE for short. PoE allows me to supply both power and internet to the switch using only one Ethernet cable, and this eliminates the need for the power adapter, which means one less cable, and that's always better for cable management, and 3 other ports to provide hardwired internet connection, to my PS5, Xbox Series X, and my PC. I also used some thin white Cat6 cables in order to get the best internet speeds. This also ensures the best data transfer rate between my PC and my NAS home server, which I move, files between a lot for storage purposes. Now, let me tell you something. I can never, mark my words, never ever have a game set up without Ethernet. It has to be powered by, hardwired internet as opposed to Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is a no-no for me for my gaming setups. As a matter of fact, for everything, if I could use hardwired Ethernet connection, I'd go that route. Using Wi-Fi is so unstable and the speeds are nothing in comparison to wired connection. The desktop I've got in there is made from MDF wood and is nothing of high value. While I was custom cutting the desktop, I made sure to leave about 4 inches of space open on both sides of the desk for mounting anything I need to, as well as running cables down under. It's being held up by 2 round table legs and a wall frame. On the top of the desk, I've mounted 2 Elgato key lights, one on the left and one on the right. These are amazing for lighting up my face and the entire space, especially for shooting videos. They're app controlled and connect through Wi-Fi, which is great for ease of use. I certainly prefer Wi-Fi to knob controlled lights, miss me with that. I can modify settings for both lights in real time directly from my PC, or my phone. This makes it easy to sync both lights and make sure they're operating under the same conditions all the time, or whenever I need them to. I can also choose the temperature I want to work with, which makes matching my camera's color temperature with it extremely easy. The temperature ranges from 2900 to 7000 Kelvin for warm to cool white colors. It also gets very bright to 2800 lumens, so I don't need it right in front of my face to get the best out of it. And that's why I mounted 2 of them on both ends of the desktop. One key thing to note is that they're madly priced at 299 Canadian dollars each. I mean, that's ridiculous for lights. But I've, paid over $1,000 for a light before as well, for video shooting lights. These things tend to be expensive, especially when they have special, features like the Wi-Fi on these ones right here. I've attached a 20mm Ulanzi Magic Arm to the Elgato key light stand on the left side of the desk. This creates some sort of a cleaner look, which I like. The arm comes with a 360-degree ball head for adjusting the camera to point in whatever direction I need, even for vertical videos. It's very sturdy and holds my camera up there easily. Speaking of cameras, I've got the Canon EOS M6 Mark II mirrorless camera mounted on the ball head. This is a 4K capable camera which I use as the webcam for my PC. I use it when recording game videos, tutorials, and anything else that requires a webcam. I don't stream gameplay right now, but I've also set it up, with OBS Studio for that purpose. If you want to catch up on games that I play or you want to see this 4K camera in action, you have to check out my gaming channel. That's where I kind of use it, you know, to record gameplay and, you know, a bunch of stuff. It's where I use it the most. On the left side of the desk, I've also mounted my mic and my boom arm. I initially had this set up at my workspace desk on the other side of the room, but I moved it in here because I barely used it at that desk. The mic arm is the Throne Max Zoom boom arm. It's got clip-on cable holders to keep, you know, the mic cable tidy and out of sight. It uses a foldable arm design that makes it extremely easy to hide my mic away in the corner. It also holds up my Shure SM7B dynamic mic pretty well. And trust me, this isn't a light microphone by any means. Speaking of the microphone, the Shure SM7B is amazing for any kind of voice work. It uses a cardioid pattern to produce warm and natural sounds, and honestly, one of the best I've heard from a mic. I'm not kidding, it's what I'm using right now. It also has noise rejection technology like air suspension, shock isolation, pop filtering for, you know, reducing background noises like breaths, you know, and all those nasty noises that you don't want, you know, in your audio. In order to use a mic like this, you'll need to get a few more things to go with it. First, you need a cloud lifter. So I use the cloud lifter CL-1. This enhances the mic's capability by, you know, using phantom power to bolster the sound going into the mic, making it so much louder without the need to increase the gain on the audio interface. The audio interface is the second thing that's required to use this mic. I use a Scarlett 2i2 and it's the best I've ever had. I've had this particular one for over 6 years now and it's still kicking. An audio interface allows you to use XLR mics like this one. The setup for the mic is simple. I have the mic connected to the cloud lifter, which I've stuck to the bottom of the desk, and then I connected the cloud lifter to the audio interface. The white and black Nintendo Switch OLED is the next thing on the left side of the desk. This is the only handheld console that I've got, and it's within arm's reach, so I can easily grab it whenever I need to bring it out with me. I've got the Switch sitting inside its docking station, so it's fully charged at all times. I've also hooked the dock up to my main display using HDMI 2.0 because unfortunately, you know, there's no HDMI 2.1 compatibility with the new Nintendo Switches. I hooked it up to the TV for when I want to play on a larger screen than the beautiful 7-inch OLED display on the Switch itself. It's seriously fun to play on, and anyone who has the OLED version of the Switch can confirm that the screen on it makes it a joy to play on. Centered below the TV are 3 charging docks and 1 controller mounted on each one. I placed the black PlayStation 5 DualSense controller and its charging dock on the left side to match the position of the console underneath the desk. The Xbox controller is sitting on its charging dock to the right to match the position of the Xbox Series X as well. At the center, I've got the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons and the Pro controller sitting on a dual charging dock. The charging docks for the PS5 and Xbox controllers are both Razer quick charging stands. These charging docks can charge up both controls in under 3 hours, which is great since they, you know, can only charge one at a time. They also come with overcharge protection, which is great since my controllers are always sitting on them. The charging docks were designed to fit seamlessly with the controllers. The Xbox charging dock comes with a rechargeable battery that can replace the old battery system, which, you know, I wasn't rolling with, to be honest with you guys. It also comes with battery covers designed to fit the Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S controllers. This makes it compatible with any Xbox controller except the Elite Controller Series 2. The dual charging dock for the Switch controllers does a great job of keeping my Joy-Cons and my Pro controller fully charged all the time. It comes with a USB-C dongle attachment for quickly mounting the Pro controller onto it. The Joy-Cons simply slide on the charge. It's got charging indicator lights for each controller that show red when charging and green when fully charged. Out of all of these controllers, the PS5 DualSense controller is definitely my favorite to play with, and this is due to new features like haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. I've also got Logitech's G915 TKL white tactile mechanical keyboard for use with my PC. I really love the low profile mechanical keys and the gentle bump sounds that come with the tactile switch. I mean, it's really quiet and inaudible. It sounds amazing. The keyboard uses aircraft grade aluminum alloy to deliver a thin but rigid looking design. It's a great gaming keyboard with a lot of, you know, really nice features that complement gaming, like Logitech's Lightspeed technology, which provides low latency wireless PC connection. I can't stress enough how important this feature is for gaming. You can connect it wirelessly using Bluetooth or the USB receiver dongle provided. It also comes with a micro USB charging cable, which also doubles as wired connection since you can still use the keyboard while it's plugged in and charging. I must admit, it's got a pretty solid battery life. I don't use it heavily since most of my games are on consoles, so I only charge it once or twice a week. I'll say battery life is highly dependent on how much it gets used. You can also connect it to Logitech's G Hub to control RGB lighting and unlock even more features. My only issue is that I would have preferred an all-white keyboard to match my mouse. The white version of this keyboard comes with white keys, but the base of the keyboard looks more like silver. For my mouse, I've got Logitech's G Pro X Superlight in white to pair with the keyboard. At under only 63 grams, it's an extremely light mouse designed for gaming. It's literally the lightest mouse I've ever used. Most of the time, I forget it's even in my hand due to how small and minimal it is. It uses the same light speed technology the G915 keyboard uses for 1 millisecond low latency wireless connection. The only way to connect it wirelessly is through the USB receiver dongle though, so no Bluetooth connection on this one. It charges using micro USB cable as well, and the battery life is superb. I've got the keyboard and mouse sitting on an extended rubber mouse mat. The dimensions for it is 900 by 400 millimeter, which I find is large enough to hold my 10 keyless keyboard and mouse, with enough room to glide my mouse around and even more. It's also got the world map on it, which I personally think is a nice touch. It looks, really sick, and anytime I need to find somewhere in the world that I'm going to travel to, or just gotta find somewhere in the world I can just look, at my mouse mat or I'll just Google it. I've got my lapel 15.6 inch HD portable monitor on the right side of the desk. This monitor works as a secondary display for my PC when I'm gaming on my main display. It's especially useful during game recording or live streaming sessions, where I need to have my PC displayed on the second screen as I'm gaming on the main one. Using a portable monitor is a huge space saver. The only issue I ran into using this system was trying to connect the monitor to my PC through DisplayPort. So basically I used the Wacom Link Plus along with the DisplayPort to HDMI cable to convert the signal coming from the graphics card from DisplayPort to USB-C, and then provided power to the monitor using another USB-C cable. So right now there's two USB-C cables going into the monitor, one for display and one for power. Overall, this system works very well, and I'm able to use dual monitor setups or a single monitor setup with my PC without plugging and unplugging cables. The monitor has a maximum resolution of 1080p HD with 60 Hz refresh rate. I've had it for 2 years now, but I'm definitely looking to upgrade to something with at least 4K resolution and a higher brightness level, because this one's not, it's not really that bright. It doesn't get too bright, and I don't like that. At the center of the room, I've mounted a 48-inch Sony XBR A9S 4K OLED TV. Gaming on OLED is second to none and is a must for me, man. The colors on this TV are amazing, and if you own any OLED devices, then you know what I mean. Everything appears so much richer, and each color comes out looking very vibrant and accurate. Having HDR enabled with my consoles and PC paired with the TV makes for the ultimate gaming experience. I initially tried using a 43 and a 32-inch monitor without OLED displays, and honestly, it just didn't get the job done. I know about OLED burn-ins, but I've never experienced it with any of my OLED displays. Regardless, I'm willing to take that risk for the ultimate gaming experience, and you should too. TVs with OLED panels have very fast response times as well, which is great for gaming. They're not the best in bright rooms, so I'm glad the closet space never gets too much light. My only issue with the TV is the lack of HDMI 2.1 inputs, which is required to unlock the full potential of all of my consoles as well as my PC. I'm not too worried about that though, since all I have to do now is wait until LG releases their new C2 OLEDs with better gaming features than this. Moving up top, I've got another 72-inch wide IKEA rack mounted to the wall. The purpose of this one is to hold frames and decor items. The first item on the top shelf is my Nike Freak ones, which I've never worn before, to be honest with you guys. I wanted them playing NBA 2K19 and haven't decided what to do with them yet, so I just put them up on display. Right next to it is my super minimalistic headphone stand, which I managed to get for a good price on Amazon. It's made from white acrylic and does a phenomenal job holding my gaming headphones when I'm not using it. As for my headphones, I've got the White Edition SteelSeries Arctis 7P wireless headphones. These are very comfortable around the ears even during long gaming sessions. It can be used wirelessly with the supplied USB-C dongle, which you plug into either a PS5 PC, Nintendo Switch, or even an Android device like your phone. The battery life on this thing is crazy. I've never had it die on me even after 6 to 8 hours of continuously using it. Definitely one of the best headphones or gaming headphones that I've used. To the far right of the shelf, I've got a frame with handcrafted artwork gifted to me by a friend as a congratulation for buying my first home, which I just did, about 4 months ago. I think it looks really nice up there for now. I'll probably end up moving it elsewhere within the house to make space for other items. As for my RGB lighting setup, I installed one 80-meter LED light strip from Nanoleaf on the top shelf. I then went ahead and installed 2 more 80-meter light strips underneath the desktop on both sides. I set the left side to blue to match PlayStation's branding and the right side to green for the Xbox's branding. These Nanoleaf strip lights cost more than the generic ones you'll find on Amazon, but they work so much better and also have more voice assistant integrations, including Apple's Siri. I still haven't found a generic brand with Siri or Apple HomeKit integration on Amazon. These strip lights use 3M, and you definitely have to be selective with where you stick it because, you know, it's an incredibly strong adhesive. There's so much more these lights can do, like mimic dawn to dusk lighting using circadian lighting. This mode can be set up from within the Nanoleaf app, and the app also gives you access to a variety of scenes and the ability to make your own, which I found to be quite useful. Under my lac shelf mounted up top, I've also got the Nanoleaf lines mounted in sort of a zigzag pattern. These provide all the lighting for that middle section, and it can get very bright if needed, but I tend to keep it at about 40 to 50%. Just like the strip lights, it can be controlled through the mobile or desktop app. The desktop app also has a screen mirror feature that allows the lines to mirror the lighting from the display connected to that PC. The only thing I wish is that I could use the screen mirror function with any display without the need for a PC connected to it. But you are going to always need a PC connected to use that feature. So I saved the best for the last: cable management. Honestly, I hate cable management, but I love the look of a clean space. I don't like seeing too much cables or any cables at all if possible. So cable management is extremely important to me. It was the most difficult part of this entire setup to do. I always do cable management for every one of my setups because I just can't stand the sight of messy cables. It was especially difficult managing cables in this setup due to having a lot of connections going on between all of my devices, and also the inability for me to get behind the desk. I had initially considered running cables behind the wall, but I quickly discovered that the main wall is full of insulation, which honestly I'd rather avoid messing with. I used a few items to keep cables organized and out of sight the best way that I could. Underneath the desk, I used 2 cable management trays and 1 J-channel runway to organize cables. I also used a sticky tape to mount a bunch of things underneath the desk, like the audio interface, the Wacom Link Plus, extension boxes, and more. I also used zip ties to tidy up cables in certain areas, like underneath the TV and next to the smart outlet. Finally, I used a bunch of white cable concealers to hide and organize all cables that I couldn't get out of sight. Honestly, I think I did a good enough job with cable management, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. You know, I wasn't able to hide every single piece of cable, but I was able to hide, you know, most of them and organize the ones that I couldn't. It took me months getting everything together to build this dream gaming productivity and streaming setup, but honestly, it was worth it all. I've never had my own gaming setup, especially not one as heavily loaded as this, so seeing the final result of this makes me happy. I feel like I set out a goal to accomplish and got it done regardless of any issues I ran into along the way. I hope you guys have enjoyed this setup tour and maybe learned some things. I don't know. If you have any questions, you know what to do. Leave them down in the comment section below. I've also provided links to everything that I've used or talked about in this video, or at least anything that's available at the moment. So please make sure to use those links if you're going to be picking up anything that I've talked about. If you haven't at this point of the video, I'd appreciate it if you went ahead and mashed that like button for me. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the gold bell icon right next to it, so you're notified whenever I drop brand new videos. I hope you guys love the setup. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about it, and I will catch you guys in my next video. You know who it is, man. It's your boy Midas, and I'm out, y'all.